Airbnb is unlike any opportunity in the world. Not necessarily in a good way. This is definitely not your daddy's opportunity. It's not your pension plan and retire opportunity, but it's also not your crypto, get rich quick and lose your millions just as fast opportunity. It's been a while since I gave you guys a rip like this. Let me tell you what Airbnb is really and what it means in 2023, because a lot of you are either in it or want to be in it, checking it out. It's a lot to know. A lot has changed in the last 6 years since I've been teaching this. My name's Sean Rakijic, host for 8 years, educator for 6, 150 plus properties. Let me show you around. Welcome back, YouTube world. You know, I have been so busy with the Airbnb bust, teaching you guys all sorts of crazy stuff about the algorithm, new pricing strategy, $0 cleaning fee strategy, because Airbnb is pushing that now because they have to update a widget in their price toggle. It's like a lot. There's a lot going on in the winter bust. But also there's a lot going on in the real estate world, which has kept us all busy, which is that a lot of people don't want to sell their properties right now. And they think that putting them on Airbnb is going to solve their problems, flooding the market with inventory and really separating the people who are good at this from the people who are not. By the end of this video, you're going to clearly understand whether or not you belong in the space, whether or not you already have an Airbnb property. And if you're going to stick it out here in the space, I'm going to give you some really cool information on how you can be the winner that you want to be and make all the money that other people are making, because it's still generally possible, but I'm gonna tell you how. So what's really interesting about this space is Airbnb is a low barrier to entry hospitality opportunity, parading itself as a real estate investment opportunity. This is both good and bad. A low barrier to entry opportunity means it's easy to get in, right? I do rental arbitrage. It costs me $5,000 or $6,000 per property to set up, and boom, I'm in the game. But with a low barrier to entry opportunity, when the getting is good, competition will show up and start to compete with you. Competition is everywhere right now, and not just rental arbitrage people, but real estate investors with property on their hands. It's easy to take something you already own and put it on Airbnb, right? You just buy the furniture. But like I said, it's a hospitality opportunity, and there's real estate people coming to swing their bat in the space. This is creating a complex environment where we have people showing up, a lot of people who do not have the discipline to exist in the space. It is low barrier to entry, but to succeed, it takes a high level of acumen. This is what's so truly unique about the space. There are famous people in the space right now picking up Airbnb properties and showing just how not smart or not qualified they are to be in the space. They're picking up properties, putting them on the market, thinking it's a real estate thing, and even daring to call the opportunity a passive opportunity. To make money in the space, yes, you need to first control a piece of real estate. You don't have to buy it, but you have to have control and permission to utilize that real estate. That is about 10% of the equation. The rest of it is going to be value delivery. But what is the value? The value is a hospitality product. It's creating a beautiful space that is easy to arrive to, no fuss, no surprises, pleasant to exist in, hopefully conveniently located, etc., with a concierge service that makes your travel experience better. And of course, the person has to be able to fall asleep there. It's a hospitality product. But really, what does this mean for you? Because we can put these dots together. What we have is we have a volatile boom and bust cycle. Anything that's low barrier to entry, where the money's good, the fools will rush in. But when the money starts to dry up because of oversupply, adverse market conditions, all the weakest ones give up. And that includes real estate investors. People who own property will give up, cut tail, and run out of the industry because, again, they are real estate people thinking Airbnb was real estate. So when they're not getting what they want out of this industry, they will leave the hospitality space and go back into boring real estate. A lot of the people who are rental arbitrage are actually a little bit more scrappy, but they're probably going to run out of cash. And that's one of the bigger parts about this too, because even though people want to survive in this industry, they might not have the wherewithal to stay in it. It's just like if you own stocks and you leverage your margin account, right? And the next thing you know, stock goes down, you're going to have a margin call. You ran out of cash, you got to sell the stocks. You may not have a choice but to sell your furniture and get out of the space because you can't pay your liabilities. This bust cycle creates a really interesting opportunity for getting into the space. Timing the market means that there can be furniture very much on sale. You could own or finance furniture for people who are getting out of the space. Landlords with a ton of occupancy out of nowhere, and they're looking to scramble to fix that problem, and potentially even a correction in the rental market as things start to deflate. You take this with proper responsible market research, looking at who's doing this well, who's doing it right, which listings are performing, what design styles are performing, who has the most success in the space, and how can I learn from them? And you can get into the market on the backs of other people's failure. What you need to realize is it doesn't have the same cycle as the real estate market. The real estate market has what they call an 18-year cycle, and that's probably even becoming more and more rapid as things become more volatile. It's going to happen. So in this space, we might even see a 2 or 3 year bust cycle where the money's good for a while, there's oversupply, people get their butts kicked, they leave, There's a deflation as everyone's afraid, like this was so bad, I'm never going back to Airbnb ever again. And then it starts all over again. The people who really truly do a good job with this, who love what they do, will stick around because Airbnb is going to protect them with the algorithm. I talked about that in one of my last webinars. The core market will survive. It will refresh people's trust in Airbnb. People will travel on Airbnb again. And with the customers will come more investors because they think the money's going to be easy. They're going to be wrong. They're going to get smacked in the face and they're going to leave again. So in summary, what we're looking for is a well-timed market entry, free or cheap furniture from people that are failing, free rent from landlords if we're doing rental arbitrage, get in, get our kind of hooks into the market, start to develop stable systems and maybe even cost reduction like hiring housekeepers by the hour. And then once we've got a platform on which we can slug it out, as everybody comes in and tries to do this because it's cool, popular, or easy, they won't have the systems to fight against you because you already have your housekeepers and you have everything figured out and you can kind of like entrench, outcompete on price, outcompete on value. You're already ahead of the market. And as people get in and fail, you just have to weather it out. So you're going to have rocky patches, 4, 6 month, 8 month long patches potentially. Right now we're going through a big bust and a lot of people are getting their butts kicked. But on the back of that bust, I do believe we're going to have a really cool era for hopefully a couple years. And the reason why this is not real estate is once you have a piece of real estate, you haven't even gotten into the space yet. You haven't even gotten into short-term rentals yet. Owning a piece of real estate has nothing to do with making money in short-term rentals. I could rent the same property that you purchased and we're both starting from square one. Our numbers just look different. I'm gonna pay more money per month than you because I have to pay not only the mortgage, but some cash flow. But I also didn't have to put a down payment on the house. I don't care whether or not the property is going to appreciate or it's gonna cash flow on rent. All that stuff is a different conversation. Anybody could pick up a property, whether they buy it or rent it, and be in the same position with an empty property that they control. From there, you have to buy the right furniture. You have to have an inspired design style, hopefully one that copies the best in the markets or one that kind of takes a new approach that no one else is thinking of. You have to have the right amenities for the consumer type that you believe you're going to get, which means you need to do a little bit of market research. You need to set up your ability to deliver value all the way down from being able to do a turnover, cleaning the place, new sheets, replacing stained or ripped sheets, replacing stolen TVs if it happens, handling guest issues if they're not smart enough to unlock the front door, anything like that, all the way down to managing your revenue, changing your price by the night, because unlike the real estate market, this is a dynamic market. Prices can go up, prices can go down. If you want to succeed in this industry, you have to be ready to slug it out and to be a real business owner. You will not succeed in the short-term rental market if you think this is an investment, if you think this is real estate, if you think this is passive. Just go take a hike, take a walk. Even things like real estate aren't technically passive. You have to hire a property manager who collects your rent check and does repairs. But that's easy to automate. That's pretty simple. With Airbnb, same thing. Somebody has to do the turnovers. Somebody has to communicate with the guests, exchange keys, do repairs, answer questions, dynamically price, stage and design the place. All this stuff has to happen. There's operations. There is a property manager in Airbnb that's called a co-host. And that's a lot of freaking work. But we are in an era right now where I've told everybody more than 6 months ago, if you have a co-host, you won't have the price efficiency to compete in the space when there's deflation. Now we're in a space of deflation where people needed to drop their prices to get bookings, but because they had a co-host, they couldn't afford to drop the prices enough and they had 0% occupancy. Because people who are the most price efficient, who've in-housed all of their systems and all the value delivery as a business, they've in-housed all of their value delivery and they own their delivery channels, they are the most price effective hospitality providers in their area. They give the most value per dollar. They've won the business. People with co-hosts are failing. Is it a good time to get into the Airbnb space? It's hard to give a clean answer because it really does depend on your circumstance and the circumstances around you. And when you're watching this video, there are opportunities to get into Airbnb on the super cheap, like I said, with free furniture. And if you can get free furniture and get a landlord to give you free rent and your property can be profitable, that is nearly infinite ROI. With that argument, yes. If you could do a good rental arbitrage deal with some free rent and get free furniture where you promise to make payments on the back end, no money down on the furniture, gosh, that's a good deal if you run it right. But what it takes to run it right is a higher bar than it used to be. The best months to operate in a place like Dallas start with March and go all the way through like maybe June or July. In the spring to come, it could be a really good time to get into a property super cheap if you can find somebody who's failing Now, the thing is, if they're not failing quite enough, they might be able to hold on into March and start making enough money that they don't actually quit. But there are people quitting right now, like right now quitting. And if you can catch their furniture on the way down, then yeah, you might have an opportunity to get in almost free. Is it a bad time to get into Airbnb? To buy a property? Absolutely yes. I think it's a terrible time to buy a property if you're looking for appreciation as a business investment. There's plenty of reasons to buy a property otherwise, but if you're trying to buy a property as an investment, your ROI is going to be trash for a while if the market pulls back like people say it's going to pull back. Now, I am far from a real estate expert, so I only can regurgitate the things that I've been seeing, and I cannot give you an original independent thought about the real estate market. I'm sorry, I'm not that guy. I'm the short-term rentals guy. But with what I've been reading and what I've been seeing, I do solidly believe that the market will be stale or negative over the next 2 years. Yes, I have opinions. I have way more opinions on this topic, all the way down to the little details. This channel, of course, is meant to give you that. Thank you for watching this video. I really didn't have a point to it. I just needed to get all that off my chest. Thanks for listening to my rant. Subscribe, of course. And as always, I'll see you on the other side.